East Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at NETsn.live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the weekly wrap-up show here on NETsn, Week 10. It's Brett Swinney here alongside Corey Marshall. Corey, how's it going, man?
What's going on, man? It's going good. It's hump day, so it's a good day.
It is hump day, and I feel like something's missing.
Someone's missing.
Someone's missing, and Eddie is here already, and he's waiting for him. What's going on, Eddie? Vince is going to be a little late tonight. He'll be here shortly, hopefully, and we'll got plenty for him tonight, Eddie. Don't worry. We got plenty for him. Chris is here. Welcome, Chris. How's it going? Big game this week. I know it's a good one for big one for your household this week.
Right.
Man, I'm having a pretty good week so far. Corey, you having a good week?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I can't complain about this week. It's Wednesday, so I've been kind of not busy, but a lot of new stuff happening this week at work, so it's all good.
That's good. Joe's here tonight. Welcome, Joe. Glad you tuned in with us tonight.
What's going on, Joe?
All right. So first off, I want to start by thanking LoneStarGridiron.com. They're partnered up with us to bring you tonight's episode. Our episode is actually streaming live on their website, LoneStarGridiron.com. Go check out all their content. You've got Sideline to Sideline. You got the weekly wrap-up show. You got the Beast Texas Report. Man, you got so many shows on there. I can't go through and name them all, but it's an awesome website. Go check it out. Also, go follow us on all our platforms. It would really help us out. We've got a Facebook page. Go like our page. It's facebook.com/NETsnLive. We're also on YouTube. Got youtube.com/NETsnLive. Especially on YouTube, go like and subscribe to our channel. Like all our videos. That really helps us get noticed and seen. Northeast Texas area to know we're out here, and we're here to talk sports and all the locals in the area. So kind of can help us out there. We've got new hat here. They call this the CM edition. New hat. So
championship material.
We've got the other hat as well, our trucker hat. Both of them are in our store, NETsn.live/store. We're also, you need to get it up on your computer tonight, as we're going to go over the district standings a lot to this evening. So NETsn.live/district standings. It's color coded and ready for you. Go check it out for us. See what you like, and get ready to talk about all these districts. We're going to start off first with everyone's favorite segment of the evening.
Late to get to this good-looking winner. Uncle Mo, he demolished the field. He won by 15 lengths. He won by more than that.
We have Uncle Mo's Player of the Week, and I believe this young man has already won it once this year, but the numbers he put up were just incredible. Talked about a lot this year. The Baylor commit, senior Dawson Pendergrass from Mineola. Dawson this week, 30 carries, 481 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Along with playing quarterback, he completed 3 for 5 for 46 yards. Corey, that's a lot of yards. That's over 500 yards of total offense.
I mean, that's the bell cow. He's got to do it at this point. And at this point as well, what they're still in contention for to go to the playoffs. So this is a big week for Mineola. They're 4-5 and 2-3. They're right behind Commerce. So they need a win and some other stuff to happen so they can make the playoffs. So they need
Actually,
everything they
Corey,
can give them.
actually, they need a win over Commerce this week.
Yes, and
So
that's in the pick'em
that's
game.
all they need. That's all
That's
they
in
need.
the
It is.
pick'em game,
It's
isn't
one of
it?
our pick'em
Okay.
games, and
All
we'll
right.
definitely talk about that one here shortly. Let's see if we got anybody else in the chat. We got Chris waiting to see the fellas play. Enjoyed being there last Thursday night with his son. That's an awesome moment. I know it's one of those. It's like you can't believe it's there, but it's awesome. Should be a great one this week, and we'll definitely be talking about that tonight. So, speaking of pick'em, let's go check out the pick'em week for week number 10. He won this last week's pick'em with 8 correct picks. So shout out to our boy Eddie. It was pretty close. The game that broke pretty much at everyone was the Tatum Jefferson game. That was one that slanted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eddie, don't worry. We will let you know where you stand. We're gonna wait till Vincent Johnson joins the show, and then we'll make sure we mention it. Okay, we're gonna leave you in suspense right now, Eddie, as he's asking
Where the
what
Vince?
Vince did, and we'll get there. We'll get there whenever he comes on. Don't worry, we're gonna talk about that. We want to save it though, so he gets all the full blown attack from all
It's a lot more to it
sides.
than just that as well. I do believe so.
Yeah. So we'll get there. Oh, he said he messaged him. He did not respond. Oh, ouch.
If he didn't respond, he probably typed a message and erased it and typed another message, erased it. You got to understand Vince is probably writing stuff. He's gonna wait to get a perfect response so he can come back and message you. I'm telling you.
I just hope that Vince, he's actually hasn't even made his picks this week. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Let me see. I need to make sure because I know I may have seen it, but no, he has not made his picks. So he's gonna have to pick them on the fly here when he gets here. So we got some time though. He has plenty of time to get here. He has some church activities tonight, so we'll cut him some slack on that. Shout out to Vince when he gets here.
Absolutely.
So let's go through the week 10 games. Some really good games. Everything was kind of all up in arms with the weather. We had some games suspended, some games moved, and this was one of the game one was one of the more surprising games to me of the weekend. You had the Tatum Jefferson game. Tatum coming in was on a roll. Of course, Jefferson was too, and it was 10-0, and the game got suspended Friday night. We talked about it on the scoreboard show a little bit. They came back on. I actually tuned in, and it was in overtime, and it was 22-22. Now, I don't know if anybody else was there or saw this game. Eddie says looks like he saw it and watched. Now, Eddie, I don't know if you agree with me, but I was watching the first overtime, and Tatum played great defense, got him back in fourth, and was a really long fourth and maybe 20 or 15, 20, somewhere in there. And they threw a pass, and it was a pass interference that I just didn't agree with. I thought the ball they had no chance of catching it. It was just one of those plays. I don't think you end the game or I don't say end the game, but pretty much was the game breaking call right there, because if that just goes incomplete, then that team gets the ball. All they have to do is score to win the game, which they ended up doing. They just didn't complete the 2-point conversion. So I'm interested to see, Eddie, if you watched that one, what your take was on that, because I didn't. Yeah, he said it was not catchable. I didn't like the call. I thought Tatum got a bad call there, and really, I mean, they still had a chance to get back and tie it, but it was a big momentum. Their defense had played really well in the overtime, made 3 really good plays in a row, and that just what didn't sit well with me. That's the way the game ended. And I know, Corey, you didn't get to catch that one, but I just was really surprised. I know we kind of had both talked up Tatum a lot coming into that game. What were you surprised as I was with the outcome of that one?
I was definitely surprised because I picked Tatum to win that game, but I also picked Tatum to win the district. But looks like Jefferson's looks like they're probably gonna take it. So, but like I said, we thought, I know you said it too. We thought Tatum was probably going to win. I still think Tatum's probably the better team in the district. They may have had that Thursday game. It's kind of difficult to play one day and not complete it, and then rest and play the next day. I don't know if it's a mental thing. Just for football, it's different. Basketball is not. I don't think it's too hard. You can play back to back games. Basketball, it's not not difficult. But football, man, you got all your momentum the day before. They could have came back and won. So they may not have let them score in the first or in the rest of the game that Friday night or that Thursday night, and then next thing you know, boom, they play Friday. So who knows? Who knows what happens? But
yeah, it's a tough one. I would call the next game the upset of the week. So hats off to Mr. Marshall for picking this one. Now Eddie's got something here to talk to you about.
doesn't matter.
He's saying that should have seen the 2 calls against Texas High. Drop ball called a touchdown, and then a 4th down play called a catch that was a foot out of bounds. Corey, you got any? He said, "Look at his posts." Corey, you got any? I think I sent you that link.
Yeah, I saw that. And we need instant replay in Texas high school football. So until we get that, some things aren't going to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's the tough
I don't
break.
think that's going to determine. I don't think that's going to determine the game. Because they could have had other plays could have determined the fact that to determine the outcome of the game there, but not just those two. If it comes down to plays, anything can happen, especially if they don't have instant replays. Unfortunately, that's how it's done. Referees are not perfect; they make mistakes, but you don't want to have it. You don't want to leave the game in the hands of the officials because they can make mistakes. So you play as hard as you can, as best as you can in between the trenches and between the lines, so you don't have to have it come down to the officials making those plays and calls. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I'll say this: if we go by Corey's barely win theory, okay, White House this week, and we kind of talked about it during the week this week. They've got a game against Marshall. Marshall's no slouch.
Trap game.
White House has the district championship in their hands, but remember we talked about they lost that game early than Nacogdoches. Okay, so now they're tied with Texas High. They have the tiebreaker, but now they've got to take care of Marshall, or then they give it right back to Texas High.
Trap game.
I mean, you've got that to look for. Eddie says a 4th down call was with less than 2 minutes left with the drive they scored to take the lead on their own 30. So, but no fear, Eddie, because I mean this is a crazy season with games. Again, we talked about it. White House that they slip, and Texas High takes care of business this week. Then y'all are right back up into first place. So, and I don't know how that will break down. The bracket. We'll break down the whole bracket next week on our weekly wrap up show. We'll talk bracket, high school football playoffs, and so we'll break down the bracket. I'm not sure how that will fall or who it will matter, but right now White House sits in first, and second is Texas High. So Eddie's giving a shout out to the White House QB. I think he's a lefty from what I saw in the film, which is you don't see a whole lot of lefty quarterbacks. So,
wow, the White House game isn't in the play, isn't in the. It's not in the Pick'em challenge. That's interesting.
Well, actually, I had it in there, but I made some. I tried to get high profile games as far as like try to either make the playoff games or like some really. So it was really tough getting them all in this week. It's really tough. So
Okay.
it says, can you make it where we can attach pictures? I don't know, Eddie, but you can message those to us if you'd like. If you have pictures to share
I
with us.
don't want to see any diagraph pictures of how the ball was out and how the foot was on the line.
Send them to Corey at your boy
oh,
CM.
man, yeah,
Direct message
yeah.
at your boy CM. There you go. All right, we're on to game 3. Palestine over Henderson. Everybody. Oh, he said playoff bracket is what he's wanting to send you pictures of, Corey. Yeah, we got Palestine took that one. Everybody had Palestine. Kaufman is the real deal, Corey. They are an East Texas team. They took care of Sulphur Springs this week.
Shout out to Kaufman.
Kaufman has a big win for them. Looks like they're going to kind of put themselves in that second spot in their district behind Anna. Atlanta over Gladewater. Another one, Corey, that you try to go upset special. Didn't work out for you.
I tried. That's Gladewater. They almost did it.
Gladewater's still sitting, and they can, as
Yeah.
bad as Gladewater's been this year, they could still get in the playoffs. I think they're still sitting in that 4th spot at this point. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Dangerfield with the win, no surprise. They continue to roll. Everybody had Dangerfield. Yeah, Pittsburgh got the early lead, but thankfully, Corey, we took your pick on the pick 'em instead of who you thought you were going to pick, and you got the win there. As Liberty Allo was able to come back and beat Pittsburgh.
See what was happening. You were watching the games. You were like, Corey may be right. His theory is almost correct, but no. If you watch enough games, you would kind of get a good picture of it. I said the barely win theory is it got some holes in it, but it's not 100% proof. But this is how you would motivate your team. You would have that's how things are played. But that's how I would motivate my team. The other team, they didn't play as well. This is a perfect time to come in and get a win. The other team didn't play well. They know they didn't. They shouldn't have won the game. I'm gonna say that. There's an opportunity for us to get a win. So those teams are playing well, and the teams that's not playing so well, but they're better than them. This team to get time to go in and get a good win. But White House did. Shout out to White House for doing that. Thought Pittsburgh may have been able to do it, but they didn't. But it's okay.
Lindale, game 8, picked up a win over, I think it was Jacksonville. That game was back and forth, high scoring there for a while. Lindale just had too much for Jacksonville. And so Lindale's finished their season. They're in the 3rd spot. They've actually already got their playoff game scheduled because the team across from them has already locked in their spot. So Lindale just sitting and now ready for working on playoff matchup. Game 9, Pottsboro, another win. Pottsboro continues to roll as they roll into this game 11 matchup with Mount Vernon. Is going to determine some things, and I hope Derek's here because he's probably have some playoff tiebreaker scenarios for us. As it's very possible if Mount Vernon beats Pottsboro, we have a 3-way tie for that district championship. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Of course, everybody had Pottsboro, and then another one, and give a shout. This is what won it for Eddie right here. Hooks over DeKalb. Eddie, only one that had Hooks was Eddie, and that's what won. That's what won it for him. That was his number 8, and so Hooks. That was a good call there, Eddie. Hadn't really seen a whole lot either team. I just really thought DeKalb overall had a better year going, so that's why I went with them. And Eddie says yes. That was a good one for Eddie. So shout out to Eddie for that one. So that's the picks. Corey, anything of those or any other games that stuck out to you this past week before we move on to look at our polls?
The Jasper Silsby matchup. I know it's on our poll, but Jasper got a big win. So did Silsby. That's going to be a big showdown. It's in our pick'em. I was keeping track of those games. Don't get me wrong. I was keeping track of those games for sure. But that's something I'm actually interested in. Jasper is still rolling. So that's a big shout out to them. There's another game I was looking at too. Where are we at here? Let me go back to the district stands. I had it circled here somewhere.
Eddie says Silsby is good.
Silsby is
Yeah, I think
definitely good.
their margin of victory is like 35 a game or something like that. Some crazy number. I saw that
Right,
stat online, and that's pretty impressive.
right. So I mean, and then look at this. I was looking at this too. So Harmony doesn't win a game all preseason. They're 5-0 in district. So that's something else I noticed too. So Harmony didn't win a game all preseason. They're 5-0 in district, and they're the district leaders at this point. Can they get a win over Dangerfield? We'll see about that. But that's something I saw on the district standings too. I was kind of making a little note about that. I don't think I made reference to it on Friday, but it's a big one.
All right. Well, it looks like I'm just looking at the picks. It looks like Vincent Johnson has made his picks, so maybe he'll be joining us here shortly. I'm sure I'll have some bones to pick with him as we move on to our poll portion of the show. This is going to be our last polls until the end of the season. At the last show after the state championships finish, we'll have one more poll, and we'll have rank our teams final as how they finished the year, how we think they overall were for the whole season. So we'll have over the playoff weeks, we will have our playoff matchups and brackets to cover. So we'll focus on that, and then we'll come back to our polls at the very end and kind of see. We'll go back and see how we had them to start in the year and how team finished, and see how many district champions we ended up with. So as that goes on, we'll move down here to the Week 11 poll, 6A, 5A version, and no surprise here. At the top, Longview still on top, but our second spot has been changed. And White House has moved up to the number 2 spot in our poll, followed by Texas High. They both basically just flip-flop spots. Hallsville stays at 4, Lancaster 5, Lufkin 6, Marshall 7, Forney 8, Tyler High 9, Mount Pleasant 10. And ye who doesn't vote for Lancaster or Forney, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's a fair poll. I like I said, I'm interested to see how the real East Texas teams play, especially Marshall in that Marshall White House matchup. I had Marshall High, so but Texas, I don't know. I wanted to keep Texas High there, but then again, White House barely beat them. So I mean, you're gonna give White House that credit, absolutely. But I
Yeah,
mean,
and it could turn out differently. Texas High
yeah,
comes around and makes a playoff run, and our final end of the season poll could overtake them there still. I had Lancaster 3. They're just trucking along. Still state ranked as well.
they're really
They
good.
lost. They played Longview very well. I think they could find Longview again if both teams continue to play well a few rounds into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how far Lancaster can go. Eddie says
Yes, hurt in the
Texas
secondary.
High's got some hurt in the secondary. Well, that makes sense. While White House, I'm assuming that pass and attack is what got them. And that's injuries. You just can't ever predict those things. It's one of those things in high school football. It's next man up, but that next man up may not be the same player that you just lost. So I
That's the
know.
last thing. That's the last thing you want to do. There's three things you don't want to have going into the playoffs: grades, injuries, or some DNPs, or something like that. Any kind of suspension. You don't want any of those going into the playoffs. They could affect, especially. Then you can't, and then on top of that, you can't just really expect JV players to step up either. So,
No,
but
especially this big games. They're not. They're
absolutely,
used to playing on Thursday nights in you know a small atmosphere. Nothing like these regular games. Let's see what he's got. They have a sophomore QB lost their senior in the second game of the year. Wow,
then
is that
not like experience.
yeah?
I
Well,
mean, you got
I
to
mean,
focus.
better to have it happen. It's better to
right.
have it happen that week too than now.
Then
And
the
that's the
week
thing about we
11.
talked about Mount Vernon and their team. They had the injury early, so now the young quarterback has had a chance to get rolling and get in the offense. So I think that's actually going to help them. It hurt them early in the season, but as they move forward, that now the quarterback's got experience. He's got the senior, I'm sure, talking in his ear, telling him, coaching him up. And
But they run
so,
the football well. The Mount Vernon ran the football well.
yeah.
Talked
Well,
about
they still
yeah,
have is McGill. He's
yeah. I think he's a
something.
Baylor committed. He's going
Uh,
to Baylor. So I'm like, I don't know if he's committed already, but he's up there. So, but I mean, nonetheless, I mean they're a running football team. You know, he's gonna get the ball 40 times a game. So run the ball, control the clock.
it's Mario there. Shout out to the Mario. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Yeah, big game tomorrow. I hope we're ready. Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a
Yeah,
packed house. And we'll have it on NETsn Live for those that aren't able to make it out tomorrow night. And I'll talk about that link more as we get going here. Let's see. Oh, just got some information. Ross, running back for Kilgore, isn't going to play much. Has an injury, may not play at all. That would be a big loss for Kilgore.
the inside.
Um,
Okay.
Ross is I remember him having a big 300-yard game earlier in the season. So if he's not available, that's gonna hurt Kilgore. Although if you're Kilgore right now, I mean they're locked in the playoffs. So do you want to risk getting him more injured now in a game that essentially doesn't matter because they're already in? I mean, it does matter for the district championship. Um, but yeah, that's going to be big. Let's see, you got
Yeah, I mean
ours says
that's another thing
hamstring
too.
hamstring injury.
Yeah, that
Ooh,
can
that,
linger. The hamstring is
that
not
can
it's not going to go away in a week. That's going to linger.
well,
That's
and the thing about this, they had a bye week last week, Corey. So
right.
you give them a week off this week. That's 2 weeks without. I mean, that's another extra week. That's a lot. So that's
Yeah.
probably a. Let's see. We got.
I put money. He suits up and doesn't play. I bet he suits up and just doesn't play. So
Yeah,
and
huge
it
loss. It's a huge loss for Kilgore.
just for psychological purposes, they suit up and don't play.
Just put him out there and act like he's gonna.
Absolutely, I would. Yeah, yeah. You suiting
Uh,
up, you're not getting in the game.
yeah, and then we got Chris says their QB was also hurt before their bye week. So, and then Mara's got soft tissue injuries or something serious. Yeah,
Absolutely.
those are that linger with you. And so yeah, that's never good. So, um, okay, well, we kind of venture off on that topic. We'll get back to that here in just a minute.
Appreciate the info, guys. All the inside info.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
yeah, thank you. Let's go. This poll to me, I know you told what you thought. I thought it was pretty solid all the way through. I still think Lancaster should be higher, but until Corey decides he want to vote for him, then they're not going to move up any higher than that. So
Not my fault.
that's where that's where I'm at. I mean, I still think they're the third best team right now behind White House and Longview. I think them and Texas High are right there together. Um, so, but well, we got Mr. Geographic there. Is Corey's just not going to
Hey,
let him throw in
I'll own that. I'll chin that.
Lancaster Nation.
I'll chin that.
Send direct messages to at your boy CM. Tell them you want to be in the poll at the end of the
Geographically,
year.
I know where they are. They don't care about this poll. They don't care about the East Texas poll.
Oh, they might. They might.
Don't care about us.
I'm gonna tag them in our next show, Corey.
They're worried about basketball season and not having to play Duncanville.
Let's see. We got Ross is suiting up, according to Bradshaw. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how that entails. Okay, so let's move on to 4A. 4A pretty much is staying put as far as the top two. Carthage and Gilmer by far have just dominated the top of the poll. No really arguments between me, Corey, or Vince on that. They're pretty much the class of 4A in this area. I will be very surprised if whoever wins that game does not win a state championship. It will be I would say disappointing if one of those teams do not win or at least make it to the state game. We've got Pleasant Grove at 3, Chapel Hill and Kilgore tied at 4, Center and Kaufman tied at 6, Sulphur Springs at 8, Lindale 9, Russ 10. What you think?
I don't dislike it at all. I still think. I mean, don't get no disrespect. Kaufman's good, and they play well. I no disrespect to Kaufman. I don't know about PG being 3.
It's no disrespect to Kaufman, but yet you refuse to put them in your poll, Corey.
Well, geographically, I was a little impaired that day. I don't know exactly what happened.
But why are you impaired now? Because we talked about it. I thought you
gotta live
pledged.
with it. It's the last week of the season. I'm not putting him in there in the last week. Come on.
Oh, come on, Corey.
I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna be wrong the rest of the year.
Vince has Kaufman number 4.
Vince also didn't have Malakoff at number 2 for the remainder for almost the entire year, and they've been good. So I don't want to hear that.
There's Eddie's poll here. I had that for a second, but we got Carthage, Gilmer, Pleasant Grove. He's got Kilgore. He's got Kilgore 5 and Chapel Hill 4, but they're flipped. I'm not sure which one he's.
Well, we know what he meant. I know what he meant.
Either one, we'll know after this game who's really ahead there.
That's a fair poll because, like I said, Kilgore, Chapel Hill, Pleasant Grove are all interchangeable. Kaufman, you can kind of throw in there, is interchangeable. Sulphur Springs pretty good. I don't know how good Sulphur Springs is, but those 3 teams you can probably interchange a little bit. So, right. And yes, Eddie, we know PG is legit. Yes,
Kaufman is moved into the AP rankings. Buzz says, I don't think Gilmer offensively is good enough this year to make it. Well, they'll find out if they win enough games tomorrow. They'll find out when they meet Carthage. So we'll know real quickly. Now I know Carthage. The thing that knock on Carthage this year has been their defense. So we'll see. I mean, they've been able to outscore everybody, but can they consistently?
Well, let's be honest. We knew when the district release came out, I kind of laughed and said they just blessed Carthage with the district championship. It wasn't anybody coming in with 28 points.
Wait, Corey.
Come on.
We had the Pick'em challenge, Corey, and we had Carthage versus Center. Who did you pick?
But that's before. That's
no, Corey.
This is before the teams played. Come on.
No. You said Center could give him a game. You thought Rusk could beat him. You picked Rusk and Center over Carthage.
This was after they started playing. When you look at it blindly and you say, okay, what teams, who's all in the district? Carthage was the best team in the district, hands down, from a mile away. Nobody's even coming close to Carthage on paper. It's Carthage and everybody else. Come on. Half those teams didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Well, I mean, I can understand why your Pick'em challenge is you're kind of down the list there, Corey, making those crazy assumptions.
Entertainment purposes.
Okay. We'll see what your poll looks like, or your Pick'em looks like this week.
It's okay.
Let's see. Eddie says, "What? No way."
And just to piggyback off what DeMario said. Here, he said, I don't think Gilmer's offense is good enough, and then we have 7 turnovers and a kickoff return. I said this before, and I'll continue to say it. If we had, I think that's probably one game, well, the Van game too, but that's probably one game they would have wanted to play like a warm-up game. You want to play you want to play Gilmer again. I don't think they put up 51. Yeah. I think it'd be a much more closer game. Gilmer may win, but I don't think they're beating us, 50. The turnovers killed us in the game. We all know that. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. No.
Gilmer's
a very good football team, but, I'd rather see
we gift wrap
turnovers.
We gift wrap that game. We gave it to them. I mean, you turned the ball of that
season. That wasn't a good representation of how that football team was. So.
Yeah, it came out maybe a little nervous. I mean, the game had a lot of publicity wide. I mean, you had TV media crews from all over. You had Bali Sports there, and so not surprising. Has he made an entrance? Oh, and we have him. It's Vincent Johnson to the show.
What's going on?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you. We got a special message here already from Eddie Vince. It says, "Tell Vince I will close my eyes and make my picks this week if he will come back on the show."
Eddie, ain't nobody running for me.
Eddie is 5 for
Ain't
5. He is like 1,000.
Eddie said he messaged you, Vince, and you just straight up did not respond to him.
He messaged me?
Yeah, that's
I
what he
must
said.
have missed it.
You missed it. Okay, so
Yeah,
Eddie,
I
now
missed it.
that Vince is here, he wanted to know where he stood. Vince had 7 correct last week, I believe, and so Eddie, you now are leading over Vince in the Pick'em Challenge. So head to head this week. So who will be on top? Will it be Vincent Johnson or Eddie? That will be the.
How much did he got me by?
I believe by 1.
By 1? Okay.
Here he is. He said, "I told him I was coming." ... That's what he said.
Did. Congratulations, Eddie. Congratulations.
Disrespect.
Congratulations. I ain't got nothing to say. Congratulations.
Vince, we were just talking about the 4A poll and how Corey continues to disrespect Kaufman and does not even give them a single vote in the poll.
Heck no.
Corey's disrespectful. That's what he does.
Yeah, you sure right. That's my middle initial. Corey disrespectful. Marsh. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But just so you know how it turned out, we had Carthage 1, Gilmer 2, Pleasant Grove 3, Chapel Hill and Kilgore tied at 4, Henderson and Kaufman tied at 6, Sulphur Springs 8, Lindale 9, Russ 10. What do you got there, Vince, for us? What do you think about that?
I mean, it sounds good. I think I put Kaufman over Kilgore and Chapel Hill, but sounds good to me. Sounds solid.
All right. And also in the previous poll, White House moved into the 2 spot in the 6A 5A show or 6A 5A poll. So not much else changed there except continued disrespect from our colleague Corey about Forney and Lancaster. Just disrespectful.
You don't put Forney or Lancaster in there?
No.
Kaufman is Lancaster and Forney.
Remember Corey's drawn this imaginary line around our area, and then he picks which teams he wants to put in there.
But Forney is not that far away.
That matter. I'm live with that. Forney.
You gonna down that hill? You gonna down that hill?
Absolutely. You know me.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
I would just be wrong. It is what it is.
Yeah, I know.
It is what it is.
All right, let's go to 3A, 2A polls. This one's always interesting. I mean, no surprise here. The top doesn't change. We have Timpson at number 1. We have a tie for 2, Malakoff and Carlisle. Beckville actually a tie for 5 with Mount Vernon. Tie for 7th, Dangerfield and West Rusk. Cooper is at 9 and Jefferson at 10. Thoughts on that? Cooper at 9-0. Cooper at 9-0. Continued disrespect for Cooper.
I forgot to put Cooper back in there.
Yeah, you sure did. Disrespect for Cooper.
I could have took
I'm sorry, Cooper.
Dangerfield is so low. Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, Dangerfield has lost 2 games, Corey.
It's who they lost to. It's okay.
I understand. They have good losses, but you're going to put them ahead of Mount Vernon? No. Winsboro and Beckville, Carlisle, Malakoff. Who you want to? Oh, here we go with Eddie's Malakoff is better than Carlisle theory. We've heard this a million times.
Eddie, they
line up on the field because they've got twice as many players. Eddie, they got twice as many players as Carlisle. Okay.
I'm with you, Eddie, no matter what.
Eddie said he's got. Let's see. Oh, he's got his thing here. Let's look at it. Let's see what Eddie's got here. Timpson, Malakoff. I don't get why he's got Carlisle up here. Is that he's put him in our order or something? I don't know what he's.
Yeah, what is he doing?
I'm not sure how you have him, but he's got in Winsboro, Mount Vernon, West Rusk, Carlisle. Y'all have hated on Malakoff all year. I have not hated on Malakoff.
I have not hated on Malakoff all year.
I got Malakoff like ranked number Number
I
3.
got Malakoff
It
number
took you about
4.
7
I've got
weeks.
But Eddie, you trying to
Number
tell me
4. He is
Malakoff is
number
better than
2.
Carlisle? Like
Number 2.
where? Like
Malakoff is
what are you
number
looking at that
2.
says that?
Malakoff is number 2. I'm telling you, it's hands down. They're the number 2 team in the poll. Y'all disrespecting
The
them.
fact that they in the top 10 to me, there ain't no disrespect there.
Yeah,
ain't no hate there.
I know how you feel about polls. I ain't worried about that.
I had them
They're number 2
earlier than you did. You right, and you know what though? As the man I am, I paid attention to you. I heard what you said.
That's why we
and I put them in mind. Yeah, I've been listening. I didn't have them in mind. I think for about 4 weeks.
I was talking about Malakoff for weeks and weeks and weeks.
We had him in the poll too. No, there wasn't no the disrespect, Corey, is when you refuse to put teams in the poll, like Kaufman, like Cooper, like.
And I'm sorry, Cooper. I really am sorry because when I did this, it was late, and I forgot that I was supposed to put you back in there. I should have never took you out, but I think what happened was the last week when I took you out.
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Vince lost his cool. And he lost his picks, and that 1 week he just went crazy. And he just like ripped up his paper.
And see, that's where I went wrong. I had everything written down. I threw it away. And when I started making my notes again, you were the first team that I took off my list. And it wasn't that I was taking you off not to put you back on. I was going to put you higher, and I forgot what team it was. And so I just went off of what was still. And that's how I ended up with Dangerfield back in my. I was like, Dangerfield wouldn't even have been back in my list. I'm not hating no Dangerfield, but I'm just saying that's how Dangerfield ended up on my list because I couldn't remember who it was I took off.
I don't know. Fair tomorrow.
So Cooper, I apologize. That's on me. I'll take that L.
I don't know. Hey, I was taught by Coach Screech as well. I just tell you like it is.
Yeah, listen. Hey, I'm gonna say this. It is true. Like Kaufman should have been the poll. I didn't put Kaufman in the poll. I'm not gonna put him in there for the rest of the year. That's my fault. I own up to that. That's me.
So you miss him one time, and then you just say you're not gonna put him in. That's exactly the opposite of what we just talked about.
Guess what? Today is Wednesday.
That's why
Thursday.
Listen, that's why Bubba said what he said.
I mean, here's the thing. That's why we have our fans here to keep us on teams that are doing well.
I own up when I'm wrong on
you
something.
Can try. I own up, no, definitely. I was wrong, but I'm not gonna change it now. It's the end of the season.
It's every week you have a chance to right the wrong.
No, you were supposed to write that ship weeks ago.
No. Every week you have the right to change your poll and put somebody in that you forgot. It's okay.
Sailing away from Kaufman, wherever it is, geographically.
Man, that's rough. That's rough. I'm sorry, Kaufman.
Hey, listen, I already know Corey. You can't talk no sense into Corey.
Sorry,
talk no sense into him.
All your hate mail at your boy CM. Kaufman.
Yeah, at me. I'll take it. I'll take all the hate mail. At me.
Disrespect.
Absolutely.
This was a tough poll, and I looked down at some of these teams that aren't even in our poll, and I'm just going to name some just because this is such a deep area. There's a lot of good teams. We've got DeKalb. Coming off a loss to Hooks, which Hooks is also down here. Really You've got Garrison, Frankston. Wascom's kind of slid down a little bit, but they were the team that we considered early. You've got
Wascom surprises. I think to me, I thought Wascom was going to be a lot better than what they were this year, and they were what 12-1 last year, 13-1 last year, and I thought they were leaving to come out. Charles Barkley is paid, absolutely. Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
Here's what Eddie's got. Oh, he's naming some other teams, I guess. Yeah, we're going down this list. And so we got Grand Saline, Troop, Alba-Golden, Atlanta, Joaquin, Hooks, Edgewood, and even Tatum at 5-4, but they played a tough schedule. I mean, he's got Pottsboro's a good one.
I take Tatum out of that bunch, man. Tatum is consistent no matter what they do. They're going to be tough. They're a tough beat, tough in and out. And basketball, it doesn't matter what they do. They're just tough to beat. And if I put money on Tatum, I'm gonna put money on Tatum. They're going to be hard to beat. It wouldn't surprise me they go 4 or 5 deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's one of those things. They're always going to have athletes and speed. And they do it in basketball as well. Full court press all the time. They just run. they almost play football during basketball season. If those of you that have ever seen Tatum play, and it's like they foul you so many times the ref can't call that many. They play a real aggressive.
You gotta play.
It's no, there's nothing wrong. It's just a real aggressive style. And they have athletes for days. I think the main reason why they've lost 4 games. I know some of those games were tough ones, but that's why they're kind of down, have dropped out. Plus, now that Jefferson's in the poll, they lost to Jefferson. So, that's kind of why they slipped. Yeah, a lot of good teams there. Anybody else y'all can think of that haven't mentioned? Eddie got some good ones too. I think most of those that we had. I think Pottsboro, maybe we didn't have them.
Jasper didn't make the poll. I didn't put we completely forgot Jasper. They're in these sections.
But you forgot Jasper now, so you can't put them in. You got to exclude them.
I know. I'm kicking myself because I completely forgot that side. It's another. The extra Pontywood side is what we don't have. Dieball, Jasper, all those guys.
Corey's new theory: the exclude.
But I said it way back when we started making the districts and stuff up. I'm like, the 2A, 3A districts there's a lot more of those schools than we have 4A and 5A and 6A. And so it's easy to lose. It's easy to lose some of those schools or kick some of those schools out. Not on purpose. It's just accident. But they still dieball, and that district is still good though.
Yeah, Eddie's he's still trying to hate on our Carlisle and our Coopers of the world. I mean, they're rated higher, but Edge was not in our poll though, so
right.
So we don't have them.
4 of those teams,
but Cooper and Carlisle have
higher than Carlisle, Cooper, and Edgewood.
I mean, Cooper. I mean, that's the thing. You got Carlisle though. They're down they're in the small 2A,
small.
And you got to also understand something too. This is everybody's opinion. Even those ratings you talking about, that's just somebody else's opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that.
So I mean, I'm just gonna call it like I see it. And
at this point in the year, we're only judging this off of highlights, things we've seen, because obviously, I'm every week at the Chapel Hill games, so I've got the teams that they've played and those games, and then some other highlights and games we've got to see this year. Kind of having a weird schedule, got to watch a bunch of games on YouTube. Just from that kind of stuff, we're not out there watching. Hopefully
it was time.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get around to some other teams at some point, and possibly something like that. But right now we're just going off of what we know. So, and that's why we like y'all to interact with us, because y'all are getting us a different perspective. You're getting different games and see different teams and have different opinions, which that's fine. That's what that's what makes this show great, and we appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. So, y'all want to start looking at the district standings, fellas? Let's shake down some district standings. We'll start with 6A District 10. Our Tyler Legacy Red Raiders they won last week, got their first win. Battle of the not undefeated. Hadn't won a game in districts between North Forney and Tyler Legacy. Unfortunately, they play Rockwell, I think, this week, and they'll probably take another one to the chin. They're already eliminated from playoff contention right now in that district. You've got Rockwall, Mesquite-Horn, and Royce City locked in the playoffs. Rockwall at 5-0, Mesquite-Horn and Royce City at 4-1. They're all locked in. Then you've got Rockwall, Heath, and Mesquite are fighting for the 4th spot. Now, Mesquite has already finished the season at 2-4. So, simple, Rockwall, Heath. You win your game this week, you're in. You lose this week, you're out, because the Mesquite has already beat Rockwall Heath this season. So, simple task for them. So, we'll move on down to District 7, 5A Division 1. Longview and Lancaster, the class of this district, they are at the top at 6-0 and 5-1, respectively. You've got 4 teams left that somehow could possibly make the playoffs. Now, Tyler High's in this group. I mean, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. There
need too much to happen. I don't know
happens? What if it happens?
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. So I watched that Tyler High and Longview game, and I wasn't so much impressed by what Longview was doing. Honestly, man, watching that game, Tyler High they have talent, but they're missing something. And I don't know what it is, but they had, I think, 3 drives that led them to the red zone, and then they just stall once they get in the red zone. And it's like, what's going on? Like, what are y'all doing? And in that first half, it really felt like that game was a whole lot closer than it looked. It was 14-3, but again, that was when Tyler High had those. I think they had 2 of the red zones appearances in that first half, which could have, if they could have led the points on that, it would have ended that game 17-14. Yeah, I'm sorry, it would have ended the first half 17-14. Tyler High's defense, man, they were playing some good ball. And then third quarter, man, that's when I saw what you want to see out of Longview. It's like they went into the locker room, they realized they were slow, they were sluggish, and they turned it up. And I feel like when Tyler High came out, honestly, I felt like most people were ready to go home by that point. And they didn't even look like the same, like for real. They just didn't even look like the same team when they went in. So I guess in my mind, the reason I say this is because I felt like what I should have saw was an overall beatdown from the beginning of that game to the end, and that ain't what happened.
And Tyler High played a little bit harder.
Tyler High, yeah, they showed some heart in the first half. They just could not. Oh man, it's just they missed on these little, like back in the day, coach used to always talk about the details, the devil's in the details. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like they get in that red zone and they would miss on this one play here, one play there, like, and it's just like, man, y'all almost had that one, and I think honestly, if they at least get one of those scores, that might have been a different outcome. But I think when Tyler High came out that second half, they were ready to go home.
I said it last year, and I'll say it again this year. Championships in the details.
It is. I do think that if you looking at Tyler High, I think sometimes you got to shake some stuff up, right? I'm not saying that anybody needs to be fired or nothing like that, but man, sometimes when you do shake stuff up like that, and you bring in a new system and stuff like that, it kind of wakes kids up, So that may be what they need in order for them kids to buy into the system, because they're not bad. They just play, and when they talent can't get them any further, they check out.
Yeah. Well, and Eddie has a good point. Lufkin plays Lancaster, so the chances of them winning that game are very slim. McKinney North, he said, owns the tiebreaker over Lufkin. So basically, if McKinney North win, they're in. It doesn't even matter if Lufkin's or not. So Eddie also asked Vince, why are we talking about Tyler High?
I was just bringing up the game. Actually, I was talking about Longview. I said I didn't think Longview was as good as what I feel like we've portrayed them as.
I think he's just coming at you, Vince. I think Eddie's just coming at you.
Eddie just confrontational, but I ain't the one, Eddie. You gonna learn that real quick. I'm gonna stay on you all year.
All right, so I basically got that situated. It's looking like right now that Lufkin and Tyler High are both going to miss the playoffs, and that's sad for this East Texas area. I mean, it really is.
It is.
Eddie's just kidding with you, though.
I know. I'm just playing with you, Ed.
We got Facebook user. What's your call on Chapel Hill Kilgore? Facebook user, let us know who you are because we can't. You must be in a group, so we can't see who you are. Oh, Eddie's already starting this one now. Kilgore by a lot.
Eddie.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm gonna let y'all talk about it. I'm gonna let y'all talk about it.
We'll get to that district. We're gonna talk about that.
I'll let y'all talk about it.
We got this is Kat Pasama. Oh, this is related to Malcolm Pasama. on the offensive or the defensive line, possibly. If so, he played a great game last week. Let's see. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to talk about that district here in just a second. Here we go. We're going to move down to 5A Division 2. This district's all wrapped up as far as who's in and who's out. We've kind of talked about it all year. And so Texas High and White House is at the top at 4-1. White House wins, they're the district champion. If they lose, then Texas High, and as long as Texas High wins, they would be the district champion. You got Hallsville and Marshall sitting at 3-2. Pine Tree's at 2-3, but they have lost to both Hallsville and Marshall, so they are eliminated from contention.
Marshall wins that one by a little bit, unfortunately. That's the trap game for White House. It really is. They barely won the week before, and Marshall needs to get this win. They to move up. It's a perfect storm for Marshall to get that win. I know Vince is over there laughing. You laugh if you want to. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's how things shape up.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
Hey, Vince, if you hadn't heard it before, it's the barely win theory.
Okay.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
Book it.
Okay.
Book it. It's okay. And next thing you know, everybody else start talking about barely win.
Now, wait a minute, because last week you was telling me how White House was gonna get this win over Texas High.
They beat Texas High.
But now you're trying to tell me that they still not good enough to beat Marshall?
Before,
but they barely won. They barely beat Texas High.
It is a perfect storm for Marshall to come in. I'm just telling you how it works, man. I'm telling you how it works.
Hey, listen, I understand because I got my own theories and madness too. You know. I do, but I'm not finna doubt White House no more. I'm done with this.
So here we go. Let's look at District 8, 4A, Division 1. Anna sits atop of the district at 4-0. You got Kaufman and Sulphur Springs at 3-1, and Nevada Community at 2-2. So those four are locked in. Maybank and Paris play each other. They have not won a game in district play at 0-4.
Somebody's gonna come off the top.
So you've got Sulphur Springs has got Anna this week. So if somehow Sulphur Springs beats Anna, then it could be a three-way tie. I don't think so. I think Sulphur Springs is third place in this district. I think Kaufman takes care
I want to believe in Sulphur Springs. I do. Want to believe in Sulphur Springs. Anna is just not nobody to play with.
Those coyotes will come out.
They're just not nobody to play with, man.
All right. So now that we're back to district, we're up to District 9. We go back over here. We got Malcolm Pasama's mother here. It said his mom. So shout out, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Like I said, your son played an excellent game last week. We got Jake is in here with us. Thanks for joining us tonight, Jake. Eddie is really trying to stir the pot. Jake, I'm interested to know if you're going to go to a game this week. You got your Lindale Eagles are preparing for the playoffs. Are you going to go and check the game out this week? Because
who is Lindale playing anyway?
Huh?
Who is Lindale playing anyway?
Lindale's on a bye this week.
Okay. Well, playoff time. They already know they're playing, right?
Yeah, this game should be in our pick 'em. I'm not sure which one he's talking about.
He was talking about Marshall and White House, I think.
Maybe so. Okay, nothing changed. Okay, so we'll go through this. It's pretty simple. Kilgore and Chapel Hill, identical records, 7-2 overall, 5-0 in district play. We've got Lindale at 6-4. Their season is complete, and they are at 4-2. They're locked in the third spot. Their playoff game, like I said, is already scheduled and confirmed. I think they play in Bryan next week against Viter, I believe. We've got Palestine is locked into the 4th spot. They play Athens. By virtue of Palestine already beating Henderson and Jacksonville, even if they lose that game, if only the only way that it could possibly work is if Henderson and Jacksonville were both 2-4 and they did a 3-way thing. But since they play each other, only one of them could be at 2-4 with Palestine, and Palestine would own the tiebreaker. So that's how that pretty much is locked in. So 3-4 is set. And it's just all a battle of the Bulldogs in Kilgore for that one. We'll see if we got anybody else. Jake says he's going to be watching tomorrow. So I guess you're going to be tuning in on Texan Live. Don't forget the link. you can go to NETsn.live, click on the Texan Live link. I've got the game up. Hopefully we'll have better luck with our camera this week as we did last week.
So
let's see.
I do want to mention this.
Yeah.
We talked about, they were talking about how, Chapel Hill's going to, Eddie made the little joke. Kilgore's going to beat Chapel Hill. I said it early, and I mentioned a couple things. Like I said, the tiers that I have for Chapel Hill, Gilmer, Palestine, and then Lindale. I said if they could win those games, I think this year will be they'll win the district title. I'm not gonna back down from that. Getting over that hump and beating Palestine was a major one. I think it's just a mental block beating Palestine. Beating Lindale, they needed to believe they could beat Lindale. Like, no matter what that team needs to believe, they're not afraid of Kilgore. Okay, Kilgore is they've been dominant for years. Beating them in the playoffs and then beating Lindale, if you can see it, you can believe it, all the other kind of stuff, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter who you lost, doesn't matter anything. This is going to be a game where they come out and play. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I'm not calling that because Kilgore's going to compete, but they need this win. Like, this is suit and tie, buckle up, go handle your business and go home. Get a district championship.
This is what it's about right here.
Title? Do you want a district title or not? Kilgore has 40 championships. Go take one from them. You can nullify your season. You didn't start out well, but you can finish strong. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Then you go into the playoffs. Brandon said to get a district title. I think this team is ready for it. I think they're more mentally prepared for it now. I think they've had a lot of adversity this year. They're still gonna have to handle adversity come Friday, and get a district title. 8-2 is good. I predicted this at the beginning of the season, 8-2. I'm not backing down for what I was gonna say. He was gonna lose district. We're gonna lose some games. Hadn't lost, but hadn't lost anything in district. So I thought we were gonna run the district table, and I said we had to beat Lindale. Lindale was at test. They got past Lindale. I think they're okay.
Yeah, it looks like we got Eddie here. So he's going to be at Spring Hill. Eddie, you might as well just come on over and forget about Spring Hill and Pleasant Grove. Maybe the first quarter of that game will be over. Just drive on over to Kilgore.
Watch on your phone.
Yeah, you could watch it over.
Y'all playing Spring Hill? Oh, Spring Hill finna get that. They coming to get that, Eddie.
Oh, whoa, Vince. Whoa.
I'll play. I think
Vince,
I done had enough.
Man, I know. I told everybody you were at church, Vince, and I think you were somewhere else if you were saying Spring Hill's going to be.
You need to go back.
I got a message from on high. Spring Hill finna get this one.
No, you got a message from somebody how they
wouldn't. Facebook user says, I agree with you 100%. It's their time.
It's their time, yeah.
All right, so let's see. The computer had you losing one game this year. Well, Eddie, your computer hasn't always been right this year. I think
what kind of virus is that?
Needs a cleanup. Geek Squad coming to get it. Geek Squad's coming to clean that computer up. We'll send Vince right over.
Yeah.
So that pretty much sums up that district. It's going to come down to the one game for the district championship. So if you can't be there, game on Texan Live, we'll probably talk about it a few more times before we go off. All right, so let's move on to 4A Division 2. We've got District 7. That's the Gilmer District with Pleasant Grove there. They're both locked in, 4-0 and 3-1 respectively. They're locked in the playoffs. You've got three teams with a chance to get in. You've got Pittsburgh at 2-2, Liberty Allo at 2-2, and North Lamar at 1-3. Now, from what I've seen, I think it should be Pittsburgh and Liberty Allo as your next two teams. But North Lamar still has a chance to get in. They're at 1-3 there. Let's see. At Pleasant Grove, he said they have Spring Hill. Let's see. I think Pittsburgh already played Liberty Allo, so Eddie might know who plays who here. I'm going to try to look up and see exactly who plays. Because it's gonna make a big difference. Because if you're playing Gilmer, I'm not looking to see that you're probably going to pick up a win this week. It's going to be a tough one there. Gilmer's got Pittsburgh, so I'm going to go ahead and say Pittsburgh's going to finish at 2-3. That's going to put North Lamar playing Liberty Allo, so that could be interesting. Yeah, Liberty Allo plays North Lamar. So yeah, they could end up all being 2 and 3 and having some kind of three-way tie. That's probably the best chance for North Lamar there. Because if not, Liberty Isle is going to move up, and Pittsburgh, I believe, has already beat them because they've got 2 wins. They didn't beat Liberty Isle or Pleasant Grove, and they're not going to beat Gilmer probably. Pittsburgh probably beat North Lamar and Spring Hill. So yeah, Eddie says they beat North Lamar 55-0. So that looks like that's the way the standings are going to fall there. And so, I mean, that's not surprising to any of us as we've talked about this district. We always thought it was kind of Liberty Isle, Pittsburgh, Pleasant Grove, and Gilmer, who we thought. So North Lamar, North Lamar shock us. If you can knock off Liberty Isle, it'll make things interesting. That's for sure. I don't know how the tiebreaker for that district, but that would be interesting. Speaking of tiebreaker, we've got District 8, which is kind of in a jumbled mess here. We've got Carthage at 10-0, 6-0 in district. They're done. They're just taking the week off and resting up for their matchup next week in the first round. Canton and Brownsboro are eliminated from playoff contention. Canton at 1-4 in district play. Brownsboro at 0-5. Then you've got the interesting race. You've got 4 teams for 3 spots. Now, I think we all kind of agree that Bullard's the odd man out here, but they still have a chance. They play Van this week.
Yeah.
So if Center and Rusk win and go to 4-2, and it's a Bullard Van, basically a play-in game, and nobody else tied with them, then they'll win the tiebreaker head-to-head and get in the playoffs in that 4th spot. Your reward, play Gilmer first round. I mean, I don't know, that 4th spot's not where you want to be. Now, you're also going to run into, it's going to be a points thing for the seeding. If Van wins, that'll probably most likely have Gilmer, Rusk, or Center, Rusk, and Van all 4-2. So again, usually there's a point differential. I'm not sure how this district does it. Eddie's saying if nothing changes, we will play Rusk. So he's saying that Rusk is the point.
That's a good game. Don't sleep on Rusk.
So Rusk would be that third spot. So
the funny thing about that district, those 3 teams, and I know a lot of people. I know Eddie's probably that Rusk, Center, Van. All 3 of those teams are decent, and they could beat anybody in the next round.
I would say, Corey, that those 3 teams, like Carthage is above and Gilmer is above, and Pleasant Grove is right below. But I'd say those 3 teams are better than anybody else in the district that they have, but minus Gilmer and Pleasant Grove by far.
I'm going on a limb. I'm going on a limb a little bit. If I'm Pleasant Grove and I'm Gilmer, I wouldn't want to play Center. I wouldn't want to play any 3 of those teams in that district. I'm just telling you right now.
Nope.
That's all I'm
going
going
to go home early.
We got Joe here.
You sleep on those teams.
Yep. I've been on Center. I've been on. You don't want that. You don't want.
Joe says it'll be Carthage, Center, Rusk, and Van. Here goes Eddie again. Van beat Chapel Hill. Okay, that was like a year ago, Eddie.
That was week 2. That was week 2.
And we played in Van. We played against Van and the Zebras that game.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, listen, I don't understand what he's saying. They did beat Chapel Hill. I got you. No disrespect. I'm just letting you know how the season's shaped thus far and how they're playing football. I wouldn't want to play Center, Rusk, or maybe out of all 3 of those teams, I'd rather play Van before I play Center, Rusk. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right. So let's move on to 3A Division 1. District 5. Now, this one's interesting, guys. We've had a lot of conversations on this district this year. Right now, you've got Pottsboro at 8-1, sitting atop the district stands at 5-0, but they come into a big game against Mount Vernon this week. So if Mount Vernon at 4-1 is to beat Pottsboro, it would put a 3-way tie for the district championship with Winsboro, who's 9-1, 5-1. They're done for the season. If Mount Vernon doesn't win, then Mount Vernon, which many people thought were going to win that district, would end up being 3rd. So and they're going to match up against the Tatum district. That's going to be an interesting one in opening rounds. We're going to have some opening round interesting matchups there across.
That is a mess.
And then you've got Commerce and Mineola playing this week. Winners in. This is basically a playoff game. You got Commerce and Mineola, both 4-5, 2-3 in the year, same exact record, and that's going to be a dogfight right there. Tough one. And Eddie says that Mount Vernon is favored to win. How much did Derek, since Derek's missing tonight? I haven't seen Derek yet, but how much did he pay you to say that, Eddie? I want to know.
There has to be a pact. There has to be a mutual agreement or something like that.
I mean, it's very possible, and I'd be curious to know. And Derek, hopefully, if he listens to the show later or whatever, Derek, get us the tiebreaker scenario there, because that could come into play. And then you've got, of course, Emory Reigns and Bonham haven't won a game in district. They're both eliminated at 0-5. I'm assuming they play each other this week. Let's see. That's not what I was trying to do. Here we go. Eddie picked him to win. Of course you did. Okay. So that's anything on that y'all want to talk about? It's kind of the top three. It'll be interesting to see how they match up against other districts. We think those three are pretty solid playoff teams. You've got Winsboro that start off so hot. You got the big winner of Mount Vernon, then they fell flat against Pottsboro the next week. Pottsboro's now sitting there. Yeah, Pottsboro's just kind of slowly made their way through the district.
They sat back and just waited till all the dust settled and said, okay, we'll pick up the pieces. We'll keep moving.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mineola's got a shot to make the playoffs. And, I don't know. I like games like that. It's win or go home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. This week right here is my favorite week.
Who wants to start basketball season early?
Yeah. And then you got these teams, these teams that come out cocky and big headed, and then they think, oh, well, we just gonna coast it the first half, and then they get jumped on. I love it. This is the best week of the year. You're gonna see some upsets. I promise.
You got to be conscious. You got to be careful. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Snot nose football for the whole quarter, and you got playoffs the next. You got to play hard 2 weeks. You got to play hard for 1 week, and then boom, you got to play the next week. You got to play in a playoff game. So if you win district and you got, hopefully you get out of district with no injuries. So that's tough.
So here's something I want to mention right here, guys, and I think this is the important thing about that number one spot. Okay, would you rather play a Atlanta or a Tatum team or Gladewater first round? That's the difference right now. So if you're either second or third, you get Tatum or Atlanta, but if you're that number one seed, you would get Gladewater.
But you know me, I like to compete, man.
I understand that, but competing is one thing, but wanting to get the first round.
I got you.
So that's why I think that's such a big thing of who gets first. Not that it's district champion, but it's that first round game, and you avoid your other two district foes until later. You put them now. I'm not sure how Malakoff will fit in this bracket because they also are going to be in this bracket at some point in fashion anywhere. And I would want to avoid, as much as Corey's telling them, I'll give them props. Malakoff is a good team. They're a very good team. I would want to avoid Malakoff in this bracket if I was any of these teams as well. So I don't know where they'll fall. We will talk about that. Once we do a bracket breakdown next week, we'll talk about kind of go in depth of all that kind of stuff. So if you want to talk brackets, tune back in with us next week because we're going to really get in depth on that. But speaking of Malakoff, they're sitting atop district. Oh, I didn't go to District 6. I'm sorry. We talked very little about it, but Jefferson is right now controlling District 6. You got Tatum Atlanta play this week. The winner of that game will be the number 2 seed. The loser will be the 3 seed because they both lost to Jefferson. So Jefferson's already has the district championship wrapped up there. With a game to play. You've got Gladewater and Sabine at 1 and 3, both still alive for the 4th spot. I don't remember, and you guys can remind me. I don't remember who they play this week. I need to look to see, but I know they've probably both beaten. I would assume they've both beaten White Oak, so they may be playing each other.
Who are you
They're
talking
both
about?
one in Gladewater and Sabine.
I think they are playing each other.
Because if that's the case, Gladewater's already beat Sabine. They play White Oak, so they have a bye week.
Okay.
No offense to White Oak, but they're not a football school. They've got White Oak, so it looks like Gladewater's got the advantage there. They've already beaten Sabine, so the only way Sabine would get in is if they were to upset Jefferson, which don't think that's going to happen, and then Gladewater were to lose to White Oak. So Gladewater's got a really good chance to win, and thanks Eddie for getting that too. Eddie's got that Gladewater plays White Oak. Thank you, sir. Grand Saline plays GS plays Jefferson. I think he means White Oak. I mean, Sabine. Sabine plays Jefferson. So the odds of that happening aren't real great. So Gladewater's got a pretty good chance to make the playoffs there and get that fourth spot. The reward would be to face one of those three teams we talked about a while ago, which none of them's a good choice. All of them are really good teams. So, but I do think if you're in any of that spot, District 5, you want the number one seed. You don't want to play with the other three. As long as I was a coach of that team, I wouldn't want that. Unless you're on Corey's team, you want to challenge yourself round one. You want to play the state champion round one.
You want to compete. You just want to compete.
And then get beat first round. So,
hey, you never know.
It's true. White House did win last week. You never know. We got District 8. Malakoff 8-1, 5-0 district. Them and Teague are locked into the playoffs. Teague at 5-4, 4-1 in district. Then you've got Fairfield, Groesbeck, and Mahia, all sitting there with a chance to make the playoffs. Fairfield and Groesbeck at 3-2. Mahia's already finished their season at 3-3. So we'll see kind of how that shakes out. You've got Eustis and Kemp 0-5. I believe they'll be playing each other since neither one of them have won. So we have the battle for sixth place there. And that's the top half of the region. Or that's the Region 2 portion of the Division 1 3A bracket. Now, we go down in the District 9. We got some teams from a little bit farther south. This would be the AKA these teams don't count according to Corey Marshall District. We've got Woodville at 7-2, 4-1 district play. Diboll 6-3, 4-1 district play, and Palestine Westwood 5-4.
Shout out to Palestine Westwood
4-1 in district play. So all three of those teams have clinched playoff berth. And it's going to come down to Shepherd and Cold Spring Oakhurst for the last spot there. Crockett and Huntington are eliminated. You got Cold Spring Oakhurst is at 3-3, and Shepherd is at 2-3 with one game to play. So, shout out to those guys. Vince and I respect you. We count you in East Texas. Corey doesn't count them. They're too far. They don't fit in his little brand.
Corey about to start losing followers.
All right, so here we go. We're down to the 3A Division 2. We start with District 9. This is the right here in around us district here. We've got 4 teams have already locked in as Art lost last week and dropped out of playoff contention. So we've got West Russ, Grand Saline, Edgewood, and Troop. And the good thing with this week, there's some good games in this district this week. It's going to shake out. You got Troop playing Grand Saline. So you've got Troop at 3-2 in district, Grand Saline at 4-1. So Troop has a chance to try to move up on Grand Saline. And you've got West Russ playing Edgewood for the district championship. Now, if Edgewood were to win and Grand Saline were to win, there would be a 3-way tie, as West Russ has already beat Grand Saline. Grand Saline's already beat Edgewood, so it would be some kind of point differential there in that district. But Troop was in 4th currently. they're looking to move up if they can as well. Of course, I said ARP is already they're done for the season, 3-7, 2-4. Shout out to Coach Wes Minke in his first year at ARP. He's got things looking up. I know they didn't do as well, but that's a tough district there that they are in. But they've got a chance. They got some young kids coming back. They'll be coming up here in the next couple of years. District 10. I had the big game last week that we talked about, the DeKalb Hooks game. Hooks sits atop that district, 7-2 and 5-0. You got DeKalb at 7-2, 4-1, and New Boston 5-4 and 4-1. Now, this district's interesting, and I don't know if y'all have looked at this or you've got your standings pulled up, but you got Prairie Land at 2-4. They're done. You've got Paul Pewitt, Paris Chisholm, and Redwater all at 1-4. I mean, it's a fight for one spot. And so depending on who wins and the combinations of those, I believe they're all still in. And there could be one or two of those teams that are eliminated, but it was too hard to figure out, if this team tiebreak, did this team tiebreak, who was actually out. So right now I've got no red in this district. You've got everyone's alive as far as I can tell. Let's see. Eddie's got some insight for us. Let's see. He said a while ago. Sorry, Eddie, I missed this a while ago. Grand Saline and Troop will be a good game. He said that game is a push. I agree. I think that's going to be a really good one. And he says that Pewitt takes 4. And that's what I've been reading too, is Pewitt takes 4. But I mean, it's literally anybody who wants it, who wants the 4th spot, who wants to play possibly West Rusk in round 1. I don't know. Who wants to compete, as Corey would say.
There we go. Now we're talking. Who wants to compete? All you have to do is get anything can happen.
Hooks beats New Boston. Okay, so New Boston actually plays Hooks, so that would be interesting. If New Boston were to beat Hooks, you'd have a 3-way tie for 1st, and you could have a weird tie down here for 4th, and this district could get really weird.
It's already messy as it looks.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is the 1, 2, and 3 are all established. They're all making the playoffs. It's just standing at this point.
Yeah, and those two districts, I kind of talked here for a minute about that. Any thoughts on those two districts before we move on to the next one? Out of y'all, anything?
Pretty self-explanatory at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we got District 11, a big matchup this week. One of our biggest games of the week. District championship on the line as Harmony plays Dangerfield. Harmony coming out of nowhere and just kind of sneak their way up and 5-4. So 0-4 coming to district. I mean, that's tough. It's gonna be a tough one there.
That's how you compete, baby. That's how you compete. Yeah. You keep competing.
Mm-hmm. Then you got Wascom at 4-4, 3-2 in district, and Hughes Springs 3-6, 3-2. Those teams are all locked in. Hughes Springs and Wascom can only finish at worst 3-3, and Elysian Fields is in 5th at 2-4. So let's see. Eddie's got Redwater plays DeKalb. So yeah, Redwater's probably not going to beat DeKalb most likely.
No.
Pewitt averages 41.3 points a game, but has 1 win. Wow, get some defense, Pewitt. Whew.
Was it giving up 42 points a game at least?
Evidently. Dangerfield takes the game, he said.
I think so too.
Come on, Dangerfield. The disrespect. They've been disrespecting you all year. Come on. Let's go.
Any other thoughts on that district? District 11?
I'm anxious to see how that plays out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 2A Division 1, District 9. Cooper right there. Give us some respect. Cooper at 5-0, 9-0 on the season. They're sitting at the top. We got Honeygrove 7-2. Cooper knocked off already, so they're pretty much sitting in that 2 spot. You got Wolf City and Bogota.
Yeah.
They're tied at 3-2. All 4 teams have locked in playoff berths. They're just now struggling to see who gets what spot. Oh, here's
that's got to suck if you have a golden. You started out the season 6-0 or 4-0?
4-0, and
Yeah. You get a winning record and you're still not in the playoffs. That's
schedule. He didn't schedule anybody. That means they didn't play anybody in preseason.
that could be the case. Could be some injuries
We
too.
talked about what was that team called? That team Athens. They were looking like they were going to be good. Had some inside sources. They were going to be good players. And then all of a sudden they can't do anything.
Got good thumb.
They don't want to talk about Carlisle though. They don't want to talk about how I put everybody on game about Carlisle.
Hey, here's the answer to that while ago. Pewitt gives up 47 points a game. Yeah, you can't win any games giving up 47.
Heck no. Unless you score 48.
Eddie says nothing changes in this district, so that's cool. All right, so we got the next one down, District 10, Beckville. After losing the opening game to Timpson, they've ran off 8 straight. They're 5-0 in district play. Then Frankston right there behind them. They're actually finished. They're at 5-1. They've locked in the second spot there. Harleton at 5-4, 3-2 is in third, and they're locked in a playoff berth. And you've got Big Sandy and Hawkins fighting it out they're both at 2-3 and 3-6 for that 4th spot. So that's going to be Frankston, good season. Okay. Even though they got spanked pretty bad by Beckville. Beckville's on another level right now. I think them and Timpson.
Yeah, Beckville.
Them and Timpson, and they have a rematch coming here in the next few weeks. Speaking of that, Timpson atop District 11, 9-0, 5-0. Joaquin right behind them. Yeah, Joaquin is right behind them. They finished the season. That's actually they're 8-2 and 5-1 in district play. Garrison 7-2, 4-1. I believe Timpson plays Garrison this week, so that'll be an interesting game. When we thought early in the season, Joaquin kind of slid under the radar. We were talking about Garrison, and Joaquin put up a pretty good performance against Timpson. Probably gave him the best game of anybody all season long. It had a lead at one point, so that's going to be interesting there. Then you've got West Sabine and Shelbyville fighting it out. I believe they play each other. Winner gets in. As St. Augustine and Grapeland are 0-5 respectively, and they will be playing each other at the bottom of the district there. Any thoughts on that district? I know it's all about Terry Bussey and the boys there, but
that's the only name you need to remember.
That matters at this point.
Yeah, the only name you need to know.
Can they carry it on to win district, go undefeated? And, this is what you want to do.
Yeah. All right. So moving down, District 12. This is our big matchup this week in District 12. Another one of our district championship battles here. Centerville, Corrigan, Camden. Corrigan Camden's at 9-0, 4-0 in district. Centerville at 7-2, 4-0 in district play. That will be for first. You've got Jewett Leon at 2-7, but 2-2 in district play and have locked in a playoff spot. You've got West Hardin and Groveton fighting it out for the 4th spot there. Both at 1-3. Normandy's 0-4, and they are eliminated. So, let's see what he says. It will be Hawley and Timpson for the state championship, is what Eddie's saying right now.
Okay.
We'll see if Timpson can get past Shiner. I know that's one that they want back from last year. So,
I'm not betting against Bussy now.
Yeah, Centerville will take. He's thinking Centerville's going to take the top spot in District 12. Any thoughts on District 12 there? Any of those 2A Division 1 games? It's going to be some good playoff matchups, though, with some of these districts.
Oregon Canada's always good. Centerville's good. Centerville came out of nowhere. In fact, they're pretty good there. So, and, of course, Normandy's a basketball school. Groveton.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to talk about the Carlisle Indians. Carlisle, 9-0, 4-0 in district play. They have locked in a playoff spot, and this is that district that they play Alto this week for the district championship, technically. But Alto is not eligible for the playoffs.
It's got to suck, man.
Because, I mean, that's terrible for those kids. I mean, they've played well this season. Alto at 6-3 and 3-1, but they are ineligible the next 2 seasons with the whole numbers scandal there at the school. So you got Carlisle and has locked in first place seed for playoffs. Cushing and Tenaha about tied at 2-2, and then Overton's going to get that that extra bid that they're going to get since Alto's not in. Overton right now 1-3 and 2-7, and they're going to make the playoffs. They beat Mount Enterprise, so they're going to get that playoff appearance. Any thoughts there? I mean, it's really Carlisle and everybody else. I'd really be surprised if Alto is able to give them a game. I just think Carlisle's just that much better than this district.
Absolutely.
I award my kids a district title nonetheless. I get them trophies if I'm Alto. They win, they win. You know what I'm saying? Get them something. They deserve it.
Eddie's saying Mart will win 282. Well, Mart's always good, but unfortunately for Mart, they're not in Northeast Texas, so we don't cover Mart. So we're gonna support our Carlisle Indians, and we'll see how it goes. You never know. Mart could have a couple players get injured. Makes
that's why you compete, baby.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So all right. So there's our district standings, and we'll talk about this again later. We are going to keep the show Friday night. Wide Right Scoreboard show with CM when he happens to still Friday night. I'll be joining him. I don't know if Vince, you gonna be joining us Friday night? Or you got something?
I should be on the call. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll have some more updated district standings. I want to kind of crush some numbers after Thursday's games, get some of these updated, and we'll kind of know. We'll talk about games that happen Thursday, Friday. We'll also talk about kind of who's in, who's out scenarios. We won't talk about any playoff matchups. We'll wait to talk about that next week and next week's weekly wrap-up show. You'll have to come back for that. We will talk about a little bit of the kind of the end of the season stuff there on Friday night. So make sure you tune in again. We'll remind you about that also a little bit later. All right. It's that time. It's the picks. All right. Week 11. We made it to the end of the season, fellas. Week 11. Man, it seems like it's gone pretty quickly.
It has.
I can't believe we're already at this point. So we're going to go down here. Some good games in this one. I know that I already saw some people were like, this game should have been in this game. I mean, there were some tough games this week, and I tried to make them all have some kind of meaning. So we'll see what we've got. We've got games that we talked about. Oh, is Vince picks in? Yes, Vince has submitted his pick.
Yeah, I got mine in.
Your picks weren't in earlier, so we
I was at the church trying to do all that. It was a headache.
Hey, listen, everything's all good. You don't let Eddie press you like that.
Nah, I was debating though. Should I jump on? I knew I couldn't jump on the show without having them in.
We checked them while the show was going on.
Eddie was gonna check you at the door. He was going.
I was like, you know what? If I don't get on the show, then I ain't got to have it in technically till tomorrow.
Oh, that's what he was doing. Here we go. He's waiting on me to say something. Okay, he's waiting until Eddie. He's gonna wait till what he picks, and you're gonna pick the same thing.
Because Eddie was gonna get the door.
Nah, Eddie, you looked up. You got who did he get? 8 the last time.
Yeah,
and I got 7.
He did win for the week. He did win for the week.
He did. Okay.
It was the Hooks win. He got him over the top. All right, Here we go. Game 1, Corrigan Camden, Centerville. Of course, we talked about this district championship on the line. I'm going with Centerville. Who y'all got?
Oh, I got Corrigan. Ain't no way I'm finna pick against them. I looked at their actually I got it pulled up right here. So
okay, so let me hold on, Vince. I need to set this straight, Eddie. The belt is only for the weekly wrap-up show, guys.
He said I need my belt. Okay.
I'm sorry. That's not the way it works. I've got the belt right here. It's a battle between us, Eddie, not for the show. Now, if y'all want to start putting some donations in the pot, we can maybe get us a wrap-up show belt for next season or something. I'd be glad to.
I want that belt.
That's true.
But
I'm the CBC champ.
Eddie, the only reason, if you'd have been here week 1, if you'd have been here from the beginning, you might be in the lead right now, Eddie.
In the lead, yeah.
You'll mess him up. Oh.
Okay, here we go. Here's Eddie's pick. Eddie's got Centerville by 7. We got one that Vince and Eddie have different already.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick Centerville, but then I looked at Corrigan, and Corrigan has outscored their last 4 opponents 208-0. I was just like, man, no, I'm not even finna play with that. I need this one. I need this win. I'm not.
Corey, which C are you going with on your hat there?
I'm going with the single C. Centerville.
All right. So 2 for Centerville, 1 for Corey and Camden there. All right. We'll move on to the next district championship battle. We've got Dangerfield Harmony. Guys, I'm going with the Dangerfield. Who y'all got?
Dangerfield.
Danger.
I got Dangerfield.
Dangerfield for the sweep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Game 3, another district championship on the line there for West Russ. West Russ Raiders
Word to say
and Edgewood. I got West Russ. Who y'all got?
Yeah, I got West Russ.
I picked West Russ. One of
Vince,
my coworkers.
Vince, you seem like you're hesitant on that one.
Well, one of my coworkers got a child that play for Edgewood. I hope she don't see this.
Uh-oh.
Inside authority. I got good authority.
West Russ by 14.
But luckily, I'm off this week. I'm off the rest of the week, so I'm good.
Oh, you're off the rest of the week, man.
Yeah. Well, I normally, as a tradition, just take the week of my birthday off. So I just
whoa. Oh, must be nice.
Well, man. It's because, in where I work at, we in a blackout period, so I can't ask off again.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I know what that's like.
I guess so. Yeah. All right, here we go. This was a CM request on this pick right here for another district championship. Silsby, Jasper, game 4.
Jasper, Silsby.
I'm going with Silsby, fellas. Who you got?
I picked Silsby.
Oh, that's the wrong way. Going with the Jasper Bulldogs, baby.
That Jay's up. Are you giving Jay's up for Jacksonville? Jay's up for Jacksonville.
Whoa. Jasper Bulldogs, baby.
All right. Eddie's got Silsby by 7.
Silsby.
Okay. You had Silsby as well, Vince?
Yeah, I had Silsby.
All right. Game 5. District playoff spot on the line. Mineola, Commerce. I'm going with my boy Dawson Pendergrass and the Mineola Yellow Jackets for the win.
I picked Mineola.
I picked Commerce. No, they don't. I picked
Corey,
Commerce.
Are you trying to get in good with Commerce before we go cover the regional tournament?
He didn't feel so confident about that one. He said he sounded sad about that.
He sure did. It sounded like he lost his puppy dog.
I really wanted to pick Mineola, but I'm like,
he lost his puppy dog. He's like, I picked Commerce.
That's how I felt last week with that White House. Remember, I kept telling you I wanted to pick White House.
I told you White House was gonna win, though.
I know, and that's what made it sting a little bit because I wanted to pick him.
Stings a little, don't it?
All right, here we go. Pottsboro with a district championship on the line versus Mount Vernon. Man, I struggle with this one a little bit, but man, I just think McGill and company is going to take that game. I think Mount Vernon takes it.
Pottsboro with the win.
I went with Pottsboro.
Closed the deal. Pottsboro closed the deal. It's game time.
I felt like Pottsboro shocked the world when they hit up Winsboro. So
Eddie says Mount Vernon by 7.
Okay, that's the other one we got different.
I think Mount Vernon's probably their best bet is not to worry about winning district, make it to the playoffs healthy, and get a good run. Don't try to compete.
But we talked about though that matchup for that first round is important.
Yeah,
I think they're going to try to go for that first spot. They're going to play Gladewater versus playing Jefferson or Tatum or Atlanta. I think that's a big difference to me. I think that Mount Vernon is going to be focused and they're going to be ready to roll. So I'm going with them. All right, we got another big game. Troop Grand Saline. I think Grand Saline is just going to be too much for Troop. I hate to pick against Troop Tigers, but I think
Brett was all Troop all year.
That was early in the season, but I mean this district though I think is tough. I just don't think that they can stay with Grand Saline. I think Grand Saline is just going to be too much for them.
I agree with that. I picked Grand Saline too.
I picked Grand Saline.
All right. You did, Corey? Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm
just checking. I'm just checking. You know how it was last week, Vince. You got to watch Corey.
This ain't last week.
Eddie says Grand Saline by a field goal. I'm afraid Brett is afraid I'm going to catch him. What's afraid of catching me? Why does that have anything to do with my picks, Eddie? You
gotta hold up the belt.
Are you copying my picks, or is that what you're doing?
Gotta hold up the belt, Brett.
The belt's not going anywhere, man. This is my belt. Belt's not going anywhere. Like I said, you want to get us? Eddie wants to get us a sponsorship or a donation.
I came close, Corey. I don't know what you were doing, but I came close.
I'll be glad.
I had him sweating bullets for about 2 weeks.
I'll get one made. For the weekly wrap up show. I'll get one made, and we'll put it on the line.
I'm gonna pick them good when it matters.
All right, here we go. All right, so next up we got Van Bullard, and I know most people probably will go one way on this one, but this one was one of those when you get in type games. It's an important game.
It's
probably, I would say, one of the most important games in Bullard's football history, honestly, to make the playoffs. But I'm going with Van. Van, you better not do me dirty. You've been up and down all season long. You beat my Bulldogs. Then I picked you and you lost. But I'm going with you again, so don't let me down, Van.
They're going to lose again because Bullard has to get a win. Bullard will beat Van this week. Book it.
Book it. Wow.
Book it.
Eddie's got Van by 7.
I took Van.
Okay.
Right. Bullard beats Van.
Next up, we got Tatum, Atlanta.
Tatum.
And I have, let's see, exactly who I think I went. I think I want to say I went with Tatum, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes, I did go with Tatum in this one.
I picked Atlanta.
I think Tatum's going to be ticked off after getting screwed last week in a Jefferson game. They're going to come out and they're just going to put their speed and will on Atlanta. And Eddie's got Atlanta by a field goal. Wow. I don't think they're going to be kicking a field goal.
I don't feel like they got screwed by Jeff.
Did you not? You weren't here when I talked about how the game ended.
What happened?
So we'll talk about this here. 22-22 overtime. First overtime. Tatum made 3 great defensive plays. Jefferson was 4th and like 15 or 20. And there was a pass interference call when the ball was clearly uncatchable. Eddie even was watching the game, I guess, too. It was on NFHS. And they threw the flag, gave Jefferson second life. They went down and scored, got the 2-point conversion. And then Tatum ended up not being able to convert the 2-point conversion on their score. Tatum should have won this game and be undefeated.
Ho. All right. So first of all, did you see the box score? Because Tatum didn't score in the first half.
Well, the game. Okay, here's the first part. Exactly, but the game was played partially on Friday,
which
the weather was bad. The weather was bad. Tatum was down 10-0 when they suspended play. So they actually came back Saturday, and Tatum won that portion of it 22
and then,
to 12.
Which I hate that because when you break that game, you break momentum. Jefferson was on top of him. And then,
but it was weather. Weather was influenced.
I know. I just wish that game would have been played on Thursday. Because when you stop a game, you stop the momentum.
But that just shows
the momentum was in Jefferson's favor.
If that just shows the weather, if they had played it in regular weather, then Tatum probably would have won that game.
I wouldn't say that. And then here's another thing you gotta look at too. Now, not taking nothing from Tatum, but I will say this about Tatum. The pass interference call, does that hurt? Yeah. But like you said, Jefferson still drove after that and scored. You got to stop him.
Yeah, but the game was over, Vince. The game was over. It was an incomplete pass. There was no chance he was going to catch it. It was over.
But the
flag was terrible. If you'd have watched this call, you'd have been.
I agree with you. I agree with you as a fan, but as a player, you don't stop playing.
They didn't stop playing, but that's momentum. When there's a bad call like that changes the entire game. The game looked like it could have been over.
Like the weather.
Now you've got to regroup. you got to regroup and figure it out.
I feel like now I will say this about Tatum. Tatum has had a tough schedule, but what I will say about Tatum is this: to me, playing that tough schedule that they play, it just lets me know that you're not where those other teams are right now. You're good. You're good, but you're not where they are. To lose to all of them, you have to beat one of them
Did
at
you
least, right?
did you look to see who they lost to, Vince?
I know. That's what I'm saying. They not on those people's look. They not where they at.
Lumberton is a
You
4A
don't,
team.
you don't have to be on their level. As long as you compete better than the teams that are on your level, that's all the thing that matters.
Yeah. Okay. And honestly, like all of the losses were not. None of them were like what bad. I don't think none of
They
them were
competed.
bad.
They
They
definitely
competed.
competed.
They competed in all of them, but they fall short in all of them. So
That's
for
fine.
me, I was just thinking in my mind, like, why should I pick them now?
I'd rather play a tough preseason schedule and go in the district undefeated, make the playoffs, win state, than to play a puff cake schedule and go 10-0 and lose in the first round.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that looking at the teams that they lost to, I'm saying, when did you feel like at some point that do you feel like they own those teams level, the ones that they lost to?
Okay, hey Vince, can I interrupt you just a second now? And let me tell you who they lost to. Center.
Yeah.
By 2 points.
I know.
4A Division II Center.
Yeah.
Dangerfield by 13. We know how good Dangerfield is. Lumberton by 6 points. They are state ranked in 4A Division I, a possible opponent for Palestine in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
And then Jefferson in overtime.
Okay.
That's it. So tell me any of those teams on that were bad losses.
I'm not saying they're bad losses. I'm asking a question. Do you feel like they're on their level? Because they lost to all of them. They haven't beat any of them.
Okay. So they play Atlanta this week, right? That's who we're discussing. Okay.
And looking at Atlanta, this looks like an even game.
This is Atlanta. This is Atlanta's schedule. Vince. Elysian Fields. They're terrible. Redwater. They were at the bottom of their district.
Understandable.
New Boston. Terrible. Liberty Aloe. Decent. They lost to them by 2. Brook Hill, private school, terrible. Sabine, terrible. They lost to Jefferson, same as Tatum. They beat White Oak and Gladewater. None of those teams that they beat / lost. I wasn't not impressed by that.
I guess what he's saying is that I'm trying to figure out what he's saying. The reason why they played those teams to see if they can compete against those teams.
Yeah, all I'm saying
is that this. I'm just saying that when they face teams that might be of equal face value or more, they lose every time. That's what I'm saying. So for me, when I was looking at this, I feel like
here's Eddie. 2 of their losses are to 4A teams.
Okay, that's 2 of them. But the other 2, let's take the samples from the other 2.
Yeah, the Dangerfield.
Take the samples from the other 2. I'm just throwing.
They both lost to Jefferson, so
I'm just throwing that out there. And they both had close games against Jefferson, but Jefferson edged out both of them. And remember, y'all didn't think that that was gonna be a good game.
I thought Tatum was gonna win district. I picked them to win district. I thought they were better than Jefferson.
Which to me, and the fact that, like I said, the way Jefferson came out on top of them in that first half, I'm looking at that to me, that's telling me a story that they do grind out games, but when they get in those pivotal moments of the game, what happens? The same thing that always seems to happen. And it doesn't fall in their favor.
I think had they continued to play the game when they did their first day, I think they probably would have beat them. Would have been a close game and would have came out and win second half. But you got to prepare against a team twice. Basically, you play them one day, and then you got to go home and play them again the next day. And you got to finish that same game. And you got 15, 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids. You may have been jacked up and hyped up the day before. You go home, get rested, your whole mentality.
So here's, and I feel you on that. I understand that. And so my point of view is just the opposite. I feel like if they finished that game on that Friday, Jefferson would have beat them. Just like they started out beating them.
They could have. I'm like this, though.
But that doesn't make me right. What I'm saying is that doesn't make me right. It don't make me wrong. It's just that when I look at them, when I look at Tatum and I look at Atlanta, I looked at they both lost to Jefferson. Tatum lost by 2.
Yeah.
Was it 2?
In overtime.
And in overtime. And Atlanta lost by 8, but then they both played. Was it Gladewater?
Yes, their district. So they play those.
They was playing, and they both blew them out. And so I just started looking at stats and stuff, and I was looking at the fact that it doesn't seem like Tatum throws the ball a lot. It seems like they run, and if that works, that works. I've always said running the football is king, you know. But then I looked at Atlanta, and I was like, they kind of balance on running and passing. So I just guessed it. I said, you know what, I'm gonna take Atlanta.
Okay.
To be honest with you, part of that, I did kind of want to pick Tatum, but then I knew for a fact in my mind, I was like, they both like Tatum, so I'm finna go with Atlanta.
So that's the real reason he went with Atlanta. His real argument, Corey, was he was trying to get a game up on us, so he picked Atlanta.
That was the final verdict. That was the final verdict. That's all.
All right, so here we go. Game of the week. Game 10.
I ain't changing nothing.
Chapel Hill at Kilgore for the district championship, the battle of two state-ranked teams. I have a feeling I know which way y'all are picking here. But formality, I think Chapel Hill's rolling. I don't think Kilgore is a bad team by any means at all. I just think that Chapel Hill right now is just – they're clicking at all cylinders, and it's going to be tough to get that offense off the field without points going on the board. So I'm going to go with Chapel Hill. I'm going to say, and Eddie's picking points over there, by a field goal. I think Chapel Hill by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I think Chapel Hill's I think it's going to be close, but Chapel Hill, the offensive firepower is going to be too much. We got Eddie by a field goal. We've got Facebook user here. We've got Chapel Hill by 14. Jake's going, he's picking Kilgore only because if Lindale makes it to the third round, I'd rather play Kilgore instead of Chapel Hill. Thanks for the compliment there, Jake. It just says it all right there of what Lindale thinks about Chapel Hill. Let's see.
You there? Oh.
What's that?
Hello? Oh, you kind of broke up for a second.
Yeah, you broke up.
I was just saying, Eddie said it comes down to you can score on you can score on their defense, I guess. So
I don't know. He's frozen. I'm going to go ahead. Honestly, of course I'm picking Chapel Hill. You know your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
No matchup. There's no just go handle your business. This is a dogfight. You know, this is just a shoving match. It's a good competitive shoving match. Excuse me. We know the opponent. If you know anything about Chapel and Kilgore's, this is almost like a family rivalry, so to speak. They're right down the road. Families, communities know each other pretty well, so it's not nothing big deal. You just got to go in and take care of business and go home.
That's what am I back? Am I back, fellas?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. That internet service I got sometimes, you know how it gets.
I picked Chapel Hill to win, and honestly, they both 7-2. They both run the football very well. Chapel Hill's been passing the football a lot better than the last couple of weeks, man. And I think Brett said it. They rolling. Kilgore, I ain't gonna say they rolling. They staying steady. So I feel like this is gonna be a close game. But I feel like Chapel Hill has the weapons they need to finish it out. So
also, I will say this. Bro, were you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
If you're a player, right, this is that time where you want to stand out. Okay? If you are a player, this is the time you want to stand out. You want to make a play? Make a play. You want to get a sack? Make a sack. This is the time where you want to stand out. You say your best football for right now.
This is going to be a well viewed. There's going to be a lot of scouts here, I'm sure, a lot of coaches, a lot of different media outlets at this game, just because of the highly ranked two teams. Both teams are ranked in the top 10 in the beginning of the year.
And I'm gonna say this too. Brett was saying that you don't want to not go into the postseason with the loss. You don't want to go into the postseason with the winner of this game goes into the postseason on a roll, because this is a good. You gotta think they've won all those games up to this point. What Chapel's won 7 in a row.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Kilgore. They both have 7 in a row.
Yeah, they both 7 in a row.
They both.
I mean, when you look at them on paper, they look identical. When you look at them on paper,
exactly. So it's a toss up. Whoever comes out takes care of business. A business trip. Come in, take care of business. You'll know who's it. I for a coach, I'd love to see if my team's focused. Ain't much I'm gonna do. Like, the opponent, you know what they're gonna run. It's a competitive game. Let's come in and take care of business. I want to see how much my team wants it. We know we're gonna be in the playoffs no matter what. Got you, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a district title? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You didn't have one yet. So do you want district title? I'm getting pumped. I gotta stop. I'm getting hyped.
Eddie said that they running back is injured, which gives us an advantage. Honestly, I picked Chapel Hill before I even knew they running back was injured.
It's saying that their quote coach is a defensive guy. I think he came from Pleasant Grove, didn't he? I believe he came from Pleasant Grove, the defensive coordinator.
He did.
And then he said Stepp and Roach will be there, so that is big. Of course, everyone knows who Matt Stepp is. He's one of the biggest high school football guys around. He's saying they will come to Spring Hill at halftime. I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
Hey, nobody's going to Spring Hill. I'm telling you, listen. I'm telling you right now. Hey, Chapel Hill wins. Eddie, put your money on Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill wins. I'm telling you right now. This is their time. This district title. How long has it been since they won a district title? I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It has been a while. Probably since the state team.
Right. Stepp or Roach? I don't get. Oh, Stepp and Roach. I don't like.
Yeah, Stepp and Roach. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that pretty much wraps up our picks.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of football this week. We're gonna have
starting tomorrow.
We're gonna have the Wide Right Scoreboard show with CM. I'm gonna be joining Vince this Friday night, 10 o'clock, I believe. We're still gonna shoot for 10 o'clock, Vince, just like normal. Mm-hmm. I mean, Corey. Vince is gonna join us maybe if he's available. Yeah. Should be a good time. I'm gonna have some district standings updated. We'll talk about Thursday and Friday's games, where everybody's standing after all the dust kind of settles. It's gonna be a good packed show. So come ready to give your team's information, give us scores. If you know tie-break scenarios, all that stuff. We need all the fans out there to come on and join us. It's going to be a good time. We'll probably have some games finishing up, catching some games at the end. Should be good. We have an update, though, before we sign off on the Twitter challenge. And, folks, there's been a little bit of a shift in the Twitter challenge here over the last few weeks. Right now, we've got Vince Johnson with a 3-follower lead over Corey. 203 to 200, folks. This is the last week. We ending it. This is it? Are we going to go through playoffs?
This is it.
So at
this
the end,
this is for the title.
So next week's show, once the show starts, I will get on and see the count, and we'll have the champ, and then we'll see what the loser has to do for the other one.
Yeah, or on the show. I don't know.
Yeah. So here we go. So it's coming down to it. So this is your last chance, guys. Give your non-followers out there. Let them know.
Follow me. I mean, I think I kind of gave him a push last week when I told him go follow Corey, follow your boy CM. I gave him a push, but come follow me, man. Come follow me. It's always been fun laughs and everything. So
y'all know what it is. Your boy CM. Add me.
Mr. Disrespectful.
Eddie's got a good question, and I'll answer it here. Yes, we will be doing the show all the way through the state games and after the state games this year. So it'll be all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that all the way up until state and the week after. So stay with us. Share it with your friends. If they're wanting to talk some playoff football, we'll be here because we know East Texas is going deep. I have a feeling we're going to have at least 2 or 3 teams make it to Jerry's World this year. I just have a feeling. We got some good chances to have some teams there. So come talk with us. Like I said, we'll still be talking weekly wrap up each week. So thanks everyone for joining us this whole regular season. It's been awesome. We appreciate everyone. And continue to keep out. We got some things going on behind the scenes with us. And so, we'll see how it turns out. We'll maybe make some announcements that coming down the pipe sometime soon. So, stay tuned. We got lots going down the pipe. Basketball season coming up. Corey's working on that schedule. So a lot of good things coming down the pipe. If you want to watch the game we talked about here a few minutes ago, if you're not able to make it, Chapel Hill versus Kilgore in Kilgore tomorrow night. The link is on our website. You go to netsn.live, click on the NETsn Live link. That will take you directly to that page. And you go subscribe if you haven't subscribed to it. It's $10.99. A lot of games. It's a monthly deal, so you'll have lots of games going on throughout the playoffs and all. Chapel Hill, all whole run will be on NETsn Live. We'll have a lot of teams in that same bracket that will be on there as well. So make sure you go subscribe and get that taken care of so you're not trying to do it right before the game. I'd like to thank LoneStarGridiron.com and also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all those places. Subscribe, like our pages. That's pretty much going to do it. Check us out. New hat, CM edition. We also have the trucker hats on sale there too. So netsn.live/store. For Corey and Vince, I'm Brett. We'll catch you next time right here on the NETsn Weekly Wrap-Up Show. Good night, everyone.
Peace.
Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.